Welcome. This is Professor Guerra-Pujol, an instructor at the University of Central Florida, and welcome to the Legal and Ethical Environment of Business. This video will be an orientation video or an introduction to the course. Most of my students have already attended an orientation session either on January 11th or this past Friday, January 18th, in which I held an orientation and introduction to the course. If you attended those sessions, you don't have to watch this video. This will be just a refresher video from the things I discussed in our orientation class. If, however, you did not have an opportunity to attend my introductory lecture, either on the 11th or the 18th, then you should watch this video so you can get up to speed and know what will be required of you in the course, and to know a little bit about the course itself. So here's what I'll do in this video. I'll talk about the course and then describe how the course is organized and what the requirements of the course will be, and then we'll go ahead and conclude. So first of all, let me talk about the course. You've probably already completed your academic activity in which I've asked you to watch the movie The Social Network, which came out in 2010 and which is based on a very excellent book. In fact, I have the book right here in my library. It's based on the book The Accidental Billionaires. However, by the way, it's a great book. I think that the book is even more entertaining and more well done than the movie, but it's a very good movie. Now that movie and the book on which it's based, the book is called The Accidental Billionaires by Ben Mesrich, The Founding of Facebook. It is, by the way, there's a further subtitle, A Tale of Sex, Money, Genius, and Betrayal. So you can imagine it's a very interesting and exciting story telling us about the founding of Facebook. I've decided this semester, as I have in the past, to use the founding of Facebook in order to explore more deeply some of the most important legal and ethical issues in the business world, and specifically to get a deeper understanding of both the legal and the ethical environment of business. So what we'll be doing in our remaining 5 courses is as follows. In the next class number 2, technically speaking, I'll talk about the face mash incident as it's depicted both in the book and in the movie. In the movie, you may recall that Jesse Eisenberg, who plays the role of Mark Zuckerberg, literally hacks his way into the computer database of Harvard College and of the various residential houses. So this poses a number of questions. How does the law define hacking? What is law? What are the ethical obligations, for example, of one student to another? What are the ethical obligations of the university towards its students? And also, more fundamentally, when somebody is accused of committing misconduct, what rights do they have? And so in that module, that part of the course, we'll talk about sources of law and due process. What is the law? Where does the law come from? And we'll focus zeroing in on a very important procedural aspect of law, this notion of due process, of treating people fairly, even when they've been accused of serious misconduct. That's what we'll do in our next class. In our 3rd class, the class after that, we'll take a look at the actual launching of Facebook on February 4th, 2004. And look at what I call the law of ideas, intellectual property. It turns out that Mark Zuckerberg, when he created Facebook, he actually created a lot of valuable intellectual property, including the source code that went into creating the Facebook website, the copyrights, the look of the website, a lot of trademarks as well. The trademark for Facebook and the like symbol, for example, and other aspects of Facebook. And it turns out that intellectual property is actually a very important area of business. That will be our 2nd major module of this course. We'll take a look at the law of ideas and how Facebook was built and then subsequently grew based on this intellectual property. By the way, I would be remiss if we did not also talk about the allegations of theft of intellectual property and the allegation that Mr. Zuckerberg in fact stole the idea for Facebook. So we'll take a close look at that allegation as well. What constitutes infringement of intellectual property and what are the major forms of intellectual property? Great. In our third module of the course, we'll look at corporate governance. The movie actually has a couple of scenes in which there's a reference being made to Facebook becoming a limited liability company organized in the state of Florida, and then Facebook becoming a privately owned Delaware corporation. And of course, subsequent to the movie's release in 2010, 2 years later, Facebook became a publicly traded company on the NASDAQ, which is an important stock exchange for technology companies located in New York, and that NASDAQ stock exchange is located in New York City. So what we'll do is in this third module, this third part of the course, we'll take a look at corporate governance and we'll take a look at the major forms of doing business. And it turns out that Facebook actually as a company exemplifies this quite well. Facebook in some ways, you could say, began as a sole proprietorship when Zuckerberg had or stole the idea, as the case may be. Then quickly, Facebook was a informal partnership between Eduardo Saverin and Mark Zuckerberg. And it turns out that many businesses, such as Microsoft, Google, Apple, all also began as partnerships between friends. So we'll take a look at the partnership model. Then, in real life, Facebook quickly became, in April of 2004, it was organized as a limited liability company, and then later was restructured and reorganized as a Delaware corporation. And it turns out that, in fact, there are a lot of advantages for small companies choosing the LLC model. And it turns out some of the larger companies in the world, over half of the Fortune 500 companies and over 60% of companies with shares traded on the one of the major stock exchanges, such as the New York Stock Exchange or the NASDAQ, are actually Delaware corporations. So we'll take a look at these various models of doing business and look at the advantages and disadvantages of each one in that third module. In the fourth module of the course, we'll take a look at the lawsuits, the litigation that Facebook faced early on. This is really where the movie comes in very in handy. Allegations there not only of theft of intellectual property, but also breach of contract and fraud. So in the fourth module, I'll actually show you the lawsuit that the Winklevoss twins brought against Mark Zuckerberg. I'll show you the litigation papers between Eduardo Saverin and Mark Zuckerberg, and we'll take a look at those lawsuits to understand better when is a contract legally enforceable, what constitutes fraud from a legal perspective, and return and revisit intellectual property infringement as well. Then finally, in the fifth part of the course, our fifth and final module, which will correspond to our last class in this course, we'll talk about Facebook today. Is Facebook, for example, a monopoly? What are the main areas of antitrust laws we need to look at to determine when a company has become so large and successful that we can say it's a legal monopoly? Also, we'll take a look at Facebook's ethics. A lot of people really feel that Facebook is no longer or has never been an ethical company, beginning with its origins in FaceMash. So we'll take a look at that. What does it mean for a company to be ethical? Does that even make any sense? And we'll look at some of the major theories of business ethics in that last fifth and final module. All right, now that I've painted a big picture, we have 5 more classes and we have 5 more modules. Now, because this is a new type of format, it's no longer lecture capture. The format is RA, which I believe stands for Reduced Seat Adaptive. What this simply means that you now have to come to class, and the online component is where a lot of the learning will occur. Now, for the online component, I'll keep it very simple. I'll post videos on a weekly basis, short videos like this one, although this one is a little bit longer since it's a substitute for the orientation class. Also, for each module, there will be one short exam, really a take-home multiple choice quiz, and one short essay will be assigned. On the last page of the syllabus, you'll see a schedule of when those essays and exams are due. So for each module in this course, and there's 5 modules altogether, you'll be completing both a short essay and a short quiz exam. Both of those you'll just do on web courses from wherever you have a Wi-Fi connection. So be prepared that beginning this upcoming Monday, January 28th, I'll post the very first assignment in this course, which will be a short essay, and then the following Monday I'll post the next assignment, which will be a short quiz, and we will go in alternative fashion between between essays and exams, or short multiple choice quizzes throughout the semester. Basically, on any given week or Friday on which an exam or essay is due, that essay or exam assignment will be posted on Monday of that week. So always check into Web Courses, your homepage, on the Monday of every week, and you'll see I'll post it right there, whatever assignment you have open for that week. If you follow those guidelines, you'll do quite well in the course. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the other component, one more thing. I have assigned a textbook. This is a physical copy of the textbook. I'll be posting or placing 3 copies of this textbook on reserve in the library, the main campus library, the John Hitt library. And also, if you prefer to have access to your own version, there is a Digital Connect textbook that you can just go in Web Courses, go to the left-hand side where it says McGraw-Hill Connect, and you can also, if you prefer, access your textbook directly through the publisher that way. I believe the bookstore is also selling the Connect codes for the digital version of the textbook. You're really going to want to have the textbook in whichever version you obtain it, because all of my short essays and all of my short exams, quizzes, will all be based on the reading in the textbook. Now, I haven't posted yet on the syllabus a schedule of the reading assignments because I'm revising it, as this is a new edition, but I will post that schedule also by Monday, January 28th, before I post the first assignment in this course. So you'll have a full schedule of readings and which readings go with which exams and essays, with which modules, before we begin in earnest. All right, finally, as I had mentioned earlier, this is an RA modality course, which means that although you're coming to class now fewer times, 6 times, including the orientation class that has just taken place, you're now required to come to class. Whereas before with lecture capture, it was optional. You could just watch the lectures from home. So now that you're being required to come to class, that is the other aspect of your grade, in which you'll come to class. I will still lecture, but the lecture will also incorporate activities and hands-on stuff that you'll be doing in the class. So I'm asking each one of you to get an iClicker Reef or iClicker Cloud subscription. Again, it's very easy. You can go on the syllabus, and there's a link on page 3 of the syllabus, or you can just go online and look up iClicker Cloud and go in that way. However you get your iClicker Cloud subscription, be sure on the home page of the course to do the iClicker Sync, which is a tab on the left-hand side of your canvas. That way you'll get the points for participating in the surveys that I'll be taking during my lectures, during the 5 remaining classes. Those of you who attended the orientation session already participated in 3 surveys, and those points will be showing up soon in Web Courses. And and then there will be additional questions in the remaining 5 classes. That is a big picture of the course this semester. I look forward to seeing each and every one of you in our remaining 5 classes, and I do wish everyone a great semester. Good luck, and go Knights.